The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio back on the air. I'm Joe Castello and super excited to be headed back to Chicago, my kind of town. Chicago is the Gerber Collision and Glass Route 66 NHRA Nationals going on this weekend out there at Route 66 Raceway. Another one of the tracks that has to this point been saved. That's right, a super track has been saved. Last year was the first year back. This is the second year back, and I'm really hoping that everybody out there in our NHRA drag racing community and everybody that loves cars and drag racing that are in that area are planning on being there. I can tell you, judging by the entry list, that everybody that's got a Top Fuel dragster is planning on being there. 22 Top Fuel dragsters on the entry list. How insane is that? For 16 spots, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough just to get qualified. Thank goodness NHRA added that fourth qualifying session. It's going to be amazing. We got 18 funny cars. We got 19 pro stockers. It's going to be amazing. Congruity Pro Mod's going to be there. Factory X is going to be there. Flex Jet Factory Stock Showdown is going to be there. The Lucas Oil Series is going to be there. Why would you not come out? Enjoy the Don Schumacher celebration of life happening on Friday morning at 11:30 a.m. It's all happening. And then Saturday night, Saturday night on Fox Television on FS1, but they will air the GETTRX Pro Stock All-Star Call-Out. I was looking at the TV schedule thinking to myself, that is a perfect airtime for this big event. Of course, it will take place during the day, but it will air at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. Amazing. So you can come out and you can watch it on Saturday live and then go home and watch it on TV with your, NHRA friends. We got Alan Reinhart, the voice of the NHRA, going to be joining us minutes from now, and the GETTRX Pro Stock racer, Matt Hartford. Very interesting interview coming up with Hartford, and we're going to preview the Pro Stock All-Star Call-Out. All that is going to happen, but first, and actually Hartford's got something special for everybody out there, all the business owners out there, owners and operators and people who take credit cards, an opportunity to get in on something, but I don't want to steal the thunder just yet. We ask you to share the show if you're out there on X especially, because they're putting up the live shows in a way that they hadn't in the past, and it has been really great for the live listeners out there. So to all of you folks watching on X right now, formerly Twitter, on the WFO Radio account, or WFO Joe, my personal account, or wherever you happen to be, we ask you to repost, share the show, get it out there, because we have got a huge weekend of NHRA drag racing coming up. All right, the people who make it possible. I always like to talk about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO, like Bernie Speed Shop, BURNYZZ.com. Follow their social. Check them out, whether you're looking for your next muscle car or exotic car, whether you've got one that you want to sell on consignment. They do all of that. They sell e-bikes. They're a dealership, and they do frame-off restorations. They do the highest quality restorations possible. Bernie's, BURNYZZ.com. Our great friends at Foggit, a very easy way to support the show, because you order a can of Foggit at Foggit.com, SummitRacingEquipment.com, or Amazon.com. And you've got a great product that can protect the inside of your racing engine, but it doesn't have to be a racing engine. It can protect anything that needs to start up and fire up again real soon. Go to Foggit.com and get yourself a can, and you'll see exactly what all the fuss is about. CWT Industries. This is Balance Machines. Randy Neal was on the show last week. What an amazing interview. If it rotates, it can be balanced. What kind of balance machine do you have in your machine shop? It's time to update. It's time to upgrade. It works better, quicker, more accurately, and it makes you money because the process can be done by someone accurately who isn't, a lifetime machinist. So it is amazing. Go to cwtindustries.com to find out more information. We already told you a little bit about FTI and Total Seal piston rings. But what about the folks at Phillips-Connect.com, smart trailer technology for transportation industry? If you're over the road, if that's you, you can always email me, Joe at WFOradio.com, and I will put you together with any of our fine sponsors. We certainly appreciate them. Samtech.edu, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, and our main man, Marvin Rodak. RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com will tell you a little bit more about them a little bit later on in the show. But right now, on Tuesdays on WFO Radio, for a long time, back to the XM satellite radio days, he is the voice of the National Hot Rod Association. He is Alan Reinhart. What's up, Alan? How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited about going back to Chicago since I didn't get to go to that one last year. I sat that one out. So I'm really excited about going back to Route 66. It's been way too long for me.
Probably for the best. It wasn't that great a race last year. Who cares? This is the year that everybody's talking about. A lot going on. The GETTRX race. We got Hartford going to be joining us here in a few minutes. All of these things are happening, but I do want to commend you. You put a lot of personal legwork into bringing this track back, dealing with the local brass and the community, the mayor and all of that stuff. For us to be going back there, I don't want to plead with the audience, but we need them to show up.
Well, we really do. I mean, the track was closed for a few years, as most people probably know, especially if you live in the Chicagoland area. But we had an opportunity to do a division race there a couple of years ago, and I got involved with that. It was actually Will Tharp that did all the legwork, all the press, all the phone calls, all of the stuff, getting it rolling. And I was really a very small part of it. I got involved when we were a little bit later on in it, but a couple of the media people reached out to me, and I did some of the local news, a couple of local talk programs. I actually did a spot on Sirius XM NASCAR radio, a featured piece about, trying to save the racetrack. And it was the same time that NASCAR was trying to get North Wilkesboro to come back, and that worked out for them in a big way. So we were able to go out there and have the regional event, which was a pretty big success, big enough at least that they wanted to come back and try it again for a national. So that's what happened last year. And last year they went into it as, well, kind of an experiment. I mean, for those that were there, you understand that it was a little bit scaled back on the crowd side and on the amenities side and some of the other things. So, the people of Chicago and the people in that area showed up and showed out. So we're back again. And I just think, in this day and age, when they seem to be closing racetracks a whole lot faster than they're building them, to have one sitting there dormant that can be used if there's a demand for it, I think it's important that we show that there's a demand for it. I think that, the people of Chicago showed, the mayor of Joliet, as you mentioned, came out when we were at the division race, and he was excited about it, the economic impact that it makes for the community. So let's see if we can, continue to save this racetrack, because anybody that's ever been to Chicago knows they took stadium to the utmost higher level. It all started with the Motorplex all those years ago when they built the wraparound tower and the cars coming out from underneath and such. And a lot of tracks have kind of emulated that formula, that design. But Route 66 really took stadium to a whole new level. And it's a spectacular place. If you've ever been there, it's a place where you walk in and go, wow. And if you've never been there, you should walk in one time and go, wow, I promise you will.
Yeah, it's amazing. We talk about the Bellagio of drag strip, ZMAX Dragway. I believe it to be on par. A lot of, permanent concourses under the grandstands, great sight lines. And you're in Chicago, you get that Chicago style dog. You can head over to Wrigley Field. You can do all kinds of amazing things. It's in Joliet. It's about an hour south, 45 minutes. But we've got to not only save this place, but we've got to firm it up this year. Last year, they opened up seats. There was so much demand. Let's hope for that kind of deal. All right, we've got a guest. His name is Matt Hartford. He is the reigning U.S. Nationals winner. He's number 3 in the world. And because of that tremendous performance one season ago, he brought on the folks at GETTRX, Steve Bryson, Scott Bryson. They saw Hartford, this scrappy young team, going out there fighting against the Elite Motorsports and the KB Titans of the world as a single proprietor, right? Running a business. And now he's in the GETTRX call out race before we bring him on. Like, look, even his competition is out there. Michael Heiner, tell Hartford not to suck. Can't wait to watch the thing a bit later. And then Terry Sutton out there, he says, get to work, Heiner. He's telling Heiner to, but this is big for Hartford here. Before we bring him on, I want you to like set the table. GETTRX sponsored car, GETTRX race, Pro Stock All-Star call out. Erica's going to make the pick. We're going to find out on Friday. This is big.
Well, it's big for a lot of different reasons. One, as you mentioned, he is sponsored by the race sponsor. That's big. To go out there and perform in front of your sponsor is always good. Anytime your sponsor is going to be in the house, they're going to have a presence. You want to show them, hey, there's a reason that you're backing me because this is what I'm doing for you week after week, whether you're here or not. Also for Matt, if you look at the last couple of races have been a struggle for him. He brought out the new car. They've struggled to find the sweet spot. So he really needs to get his program back on track and going in the right direction. We've got a lot of racing coming up in the next couple of months, and he needs to start trending back in the right way. And I think there's a real high possibility that he gets called out very early. So I think that'll give him more incentive, if anything else, to go bust somebody's chops and show them that they made a bad choice. But yeah, Matt's got a lot going this weekend, a lot on the line, and I think he feels like he's got something to prove.
Well, let's find out. Let's bring him on. Joining us now, all of those accolades, the GETTRX Pro Stock racer, number 3 in the world, U.S. Nationals winner, Matt Hartford. What's up, Hartford? We tried to make you a little nervous there. I just wanted you to feel the buildup of this moment.
I'm used to listening to Reinhart. You know, he's always got a lot of good stuff to say. So we sit in a trailer week after week listening to him, trying to understand what's really happening. So, you know, you got to take everything he says with a little grain of salt. But I think his points were valid. We have something to prove this weekend. We're bringing the GETTRX Pro Stockers, 2 of them, out because we want to put them both 1-2 on the qualifying sheet and put them both in the finals.
Wow, amazing. So that news was broken on this show last week. Thank you very much, John DeFlorian. We spoke with John. Anybody that wants to go back and check out that interview, like unbridled, youthful exuberance at an opportunity that he has been wanting for so long, never thought he would get it. This guy is touching pro stockers all day, every day for the last 20 years. And now he's going to be turning the clutch loose at one of the coolest drag strips in the world. Like that alone, I think is great, but he's got a job. You've got a job. So just lay it out for us. He's in the new car. You're in old reliable. Let's talk about the decision to bring out the car that you won the U.S. Nationals with.
So that car was built by Jerry Haas and John DeFlorian in end of 2015. We debuted it in 2016. It's got a lot of runs on it. It's got a lot of rounds. You know, it won Norwalk, Indy, and Reading last year. It qualified on the pole at both Vegas and Charlotte last year, which we struggled at this year, which is amazing. But, you know, Alan's right. You know, we came out this year with a new car. I don't think there's anything wrong with the new car. I think that with the new manifold rule that was never in existence, that all of a sudden became in existence for some unknown reason, you know, we were searching for how to find performance with a whole different manifold combination. Throw that into a brand new chassis setup, and make no mistakes about it. By the time we got to Phoenix, we were going down a path that definitely was not as correct as what it could have been, and we struggled with the next 2 races. And like I think any sports team or any type of competitive person in any event, you just got to go back to the basics. So we decided to go test, and we went and we tested in the new Flying H track, which, oh my God, what a phenomenal surface. They did a great job with that racetrack. I can't wait to have a national event there. And we took out both cars. We made a bunch of passes on Friday and Saturday with the old car. First pass, it went right out there, went right down Broadway. Second pass, it was within 200ths of our best ever corrected run. So we thought that we're on the right pace. Continued all day Saturday testing with it. Everything responded. Got up, or Saturday night, swapped the entire drivetrain over into the new car, put it all together, went up. First pass, it was as quick as the old car. Second pass, it was quicker than the old car. So to us, we feel that we went back to our basics. We got back to the baselines where we had been. And I think that we have a very stable platform again. Now, with that being said, honestly, I think the new car is faster. I think the new car will outperform the old car. But we're going into our sponsors race. This is GETTRX All-Star Call-Out. GETTRX everybody's going to be there. We're there to try to get merchants to sign up. Let's eliminate their credit card fees. Let's show them what GETTRX is really about. So we need to have a great performance. We decided, let's take the old car. We've got, well over 1,000 runs on it. We got a lot of data, but let's take the new car as well and put it into the same conditions, because you both understand this. Just because you tested well doesn't mean you'll run the same at a national event in the same conditions with the same crowd of people there. So we're going to run them both, in a competitive environment with a guy who knows how to build a car, knows how to drive fast cars, and we'll have the same power in both cars with the same setups. And if they both perform the same, our answer is easy. Where we move forward when we go to Epping, we take the new car. If the old car completely outperforms the new car, we'll take the old car. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think the new car is going to be as good or better than the old car. But we're bringing out Old Reliable for this race for sure.
Alan?
Matt, how long has it been since John drove an NHRA, a 500 cubic inch Pro Stock car? And have you been anywhere to give him a couple of laps? Because it's a very different animal than a mountain motor machine he's used to piloting.
Yeah, so in 2009, I drove both. I drove the Wilson Manifolds car, mountain motor car in 2009, and I got a taste firsthand of the difference between, say, running, a comp dragster, an NHRA Pro Stock car, and a mountain motor Pro Stock car. Completely different animals on every facet. 1992 was the last time John's been in an NHRA car. Had we had more time and the rain not came in at Flying H, we probably would have thrown him in to do a burnout. But that simply didn't happen. So John has not let the clutch out. He's not physically fired an NHRA car since 1992. The first time he lets the clutch out, he will be on a single, in the I believe in the right lane at Joliet, and everybody will be watching. And that 1-2 shift's going to come really quick. We're going to do everything we can to have the shift light well in advance for him, because our 1-2 shift comes quicker than the mountain motor 1-2 shift by about 0.3 of a second. However, both cars are in high gear by basically the same time. So the rhythm of getting through the 1-2, 2-3 is where he's going to struggle. But give him 2 runs. I think, Friday night, I think he'll be good. By Saturday, it'll be old hat to him. And I got a lot of confidence in him, and I got a lot of confidence that he'll put the GETTRX car right in the field.
Wow. That's exciting just to think about for John. But if you take everything else, you put this guy in the car, and he's I'd say like a beloved character. He's hard worker behind the scenes. He's the foreman at Jerry Haas Race Cars. He's got his own mountain motor program. But everybody that I know that have engaged with this guy love him, love his personality. So that is independent of your situation that John gets to do that. What a great story.
Yeah, I mean, our focus is to put our car, the one that I'm driving, in the winner's circle of the GETTRX All-Star Challenge, or the call out on Saturday, qualify well, hopefully at the top, and then win the race on Sunday. That is our entire focus. Do we want to have John right there with us the entire time in our second car? Absolutely. But our team is going there with a priority to rebound from where we've been, show that, yes, we had some missteps, but as a lot of people say, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. There's a lot of races left this season. And then when it comes to, who's going to call us out, because right now there's a lot of controversy over the call out, who's going to call who out. And when I talk to people like Greg said if he had a choice, he would call out Erica immediately. He says, get rid of the person who he feels is probably going to be the hardest, get her out early. So, we'll see what Erica's got first call. We'll see who she calls. Is she going to go for someone like Greg, or is she going to just, take what she might consider the easy route and come after us? I don't know what they're going to do.
Alan?
I would place a bet that Erica calls you out, just because some of the history that you guys have. And, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Matt. I don't mean any derogatory thing against your program, but you're struggling right now. I'm picking you when you're down. I do not want to give you extra runs to get your program straightened out. I think, in any kind of professional sport, if you get a chance to knock somebody out, you don't let him get up and catch his breath if you can help it, right?
I don't disagree with you. And honestly, I hope she does call me out. I'm really looking forward to that first round. There's some scores that I'd like to settle. I mean, obviously her and I have been in a lot of first rounds together and a lot of final rounds together. And obviously, she's been dominant for many, many years. However, call us out. Let's go. I'm not afraid to run her first round. We got to run her either first round or second round or third round or whenever we might meet her if we do. And anybody that calls us out, look, anything can happen on Sunday, anything can happen on Saturday. But I believe our program is back to where it was at the end of last year. And we had a pretty solid program last year.
This is exciting. This is how it's supposed to be. I told everybody on the Ignition show last night, I was a little bummed at that press conference, honestly, that we had last week. I felt so much apprehension from everybody. And I know you and Derek and, Christian, you're not in the position to call anybody out. So what are you doing, right? Like, you're excited to be there and you're waiting to hear what your fate is going to be. Like, who will call you out? And you're just wondering, you're making something of it. And I appreciate it. GA got in it, but I don't know. It felt heavy. It felt heavy. There was an intensity. Like, Erica has got this responsibility she's got to deal with. She's a six-time champ. She's got all these amazing wins, but she's got to select someone. And you kind of put it out there. You'd like it to be you.
Let's go. Our GETTRX Camaro is fast. There is no doubt about it. Okay, it might have not been fast in Charlotte. We were 500ths off the pole in Charlotte. Okay, that didn't qualify. It's 500ths off the pole with a program that was struggling. I say, okay, we fix that and we move up 200 or 300s. We're right in the mix. We're in the top half. Like I said, when we went and tested, the car was good. It was good right out of the box. Eddie, Adam, Amber, they worked their butts off. Jerry Haas was there helping us, giving his advice. John DeFlorian was there looking at everything with us. Look, this call out is going to be fun. There's no points on the line. It's only bragging rights. It's only money. And I'm anxious to get to Chicago. I want to get there, and I'm glad that they have to call out before we go into qualifying. If they got to see the first two runs of qualifying, then call out, that kind of takes a lot of the mystery away. But, Eric is either going to call me out or Greg out. I don't see any other way. She's definitely calling out a KB car. There's no way that she'll cross, team lines and call out one of her own team cars. So there's 4 KB engines, 4 elite engines. It's going to be KB versus elite, power plants for the first round. And let's go.
Alan?
Does your Friday strategy change at all? Knowing that Saturday, what normally would be Q3, and typically Saturday morning in a lot of events, that's your best weather conditions. That's your real shot for the pole. So does your Friday strategy change at all, knowing that you're going into Saturday, definitely racing, probably without lane choice? Now, does that change your Friday?
Honestly, not. And I'm just going to pull up. I've been watching it as we go. Friday, the high Friday is 76. And obviously we run Friday night. Saturday, the high is 80. And we run during the, middle of the day. So the sun will be out. And then Sunday, it's a high of 85. I think whoever goes to the pole Friday night probably hangs on to the pole. And the reason I say that is if the call out wasn't happening, I think some people might try to qualify / race a little bit differently on Saturday. Our mission is very simple on Friday. When we get there Q1, try to make a good solid pass, get towards the back of the field for Friday night. Friday night, try to go to the front. We're going to load it up and try to go to number 1 Friday night regardless, because we know we're racing in the call out Saturday. And on Saturday, we're going to go up there as if it's first round regardless. So some people may change their outlook on it. We're not. We're going there to go to the front.
Interesting. All right, everybody. Fans of Pro Stock, you know how it is. We want these naturally aspirated cars to get as much possible attention. The broadcast is 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Fox Sports 1, Saturday night. What a great deal. So fans of Pro Stock, we ask you to share the show. Matt, you're a Total Seal guy. You run the operation, the whole thing, but now you have GETTRX on board. And so you're a sponsored driver. You had to take this, you had to move heaven and earth for this big race. And it is my understanding that GETTRX has got something special going on for everybody out there. I want you to tell the audience, because I like to think in the WFO universe out there, we've got quite a few people that run businesses. Maybe they process credit cards, and they need to learn about who this company is that is investing in you and also investing in the category, not just one driver, but the whole class. What's going on with GETTRX this weekend? Tell us a little bit about it.
So we started using GETTRX about 6-7 years ago. It's been quite a long time now. And the reason we did it is because they eliminated all of our credit card fees. By saying that, our fees were gone and we saved a lot of money each and every day here at Total Seal. Well, lo and behold, we're moving into the call out this weekend and they have some great, exciting news. Any merchant that signs up that hasn't already been with GETTRX in the past, not only do they eliminate their credit card fees, they get a $250 bonus gift card. Obviously, some terms and conditions apply. And with that being said, they now will be involved with the fastest name and credit card processing. They won't pay as much money as they've been paying. They get $250 that they can go out and spend on whatever they want. And they're going to be basically part of the club. And the more people that sign up for this, the more $250 gift cards we give out. My goal this weekend is to make sure that we give out as many of those gift cards as we humanly can. So sign up for GETTRX. You can go to gettrx.com/win. There'll be a QR code on the screen that you can look at. We're also going to have an SMS, short message type texting service that we'll have on all the social media websites. We encourage you to text NHRA to that number, which will be on the social media sites. And someone from GETTRX will call you within the next day, maybe day and a half. Obviously, it's a race weekend, so that may be a little bit delayed. But these are racers. You got the Brysons, you got the Galvins, you got everybody at the top who's excited to promote this. I'm excited to promote it. Hector Arana's excited to promote it. No credit card fees, $250. How do you go wrong?
How do you go wrong, Alan? How do you go wrong? Look at this guy. He's like a pitch man. He's not Mr. Piston Ring anymore. He's pitching it.
Matt, you mentioned Hector Rana. Let's change gears here a little bit. It's fairly well known that a few years back, Hector was working with Larry Morgan on some of their engine development stuff. How much crossover is there between you guys? Does Total Seal do something specific for a pro stock motorcycle?
We do. We do a lot of stuff for the bikes. And obviously, we're not at liberty to say what we do for Hector, or what we do for Vance and Hines, or what we do for Matt Smith. They're all individual customers that we keep that, under strict confidence. But we do work with all the teams. And obviously, going back to Larry Morgan, he's my hero. I mean, Larry's as good as it gets. And we've worked with him for, decades. And it didn't matter whether he was working on the 500-inch stuff, the Pro Mod stuff, the bike stuff, anything that Larry works on, we want to work with him. But yes, there is a lot of the technology that we have at Total Seal for the 500-inch cars definitely goes into the bikes. And, anybody who's watching that is involved with Pro Stock Motorcycle, they see the rings that they get. They understand that technology does cross over. Amazing stuff. And those piston ring formulas, they are as proprietary as anything out there in the world, doing the Engine Performance Expo and whatnot. It's like a custom formula for each team. It is, what we do for, like what we do in our own engines for KB is something that's proprietary for them. It's drawings that are made. They come back and forth between Greg and myself, or Brian Fleck and myself. We produce the rings for them. The next engine builder over, what they ask for completely could be similar, could be different, but we do not disclose any of the information that we do from team to team to team. And it's hard because I've been around a lot of the different teams. And even though I know what may be working in another application, I would never even tell the engine builder that I'm working with, what could be better. It's up to them to tell me. What I do in racing and how I'm affiliated in racing with an engine builder has no bearing on what we do at Total Seal. Total Seal has we have all the respect, and we need to make sure that we keep that with the engine builders, that their secret is safe with us, regardless of who we're racing with.
All right, GETTRX has sent.
Can you tell us what you're doing for Joe Castello's Project Pontiac?
Oh boy.
Probably losing revenue is all I can say. We're probably giving them rings. I'm not sure, but I may have to look into that.
I don't know. I think the rings
are
have
going to
already
be 16, 16, 3/16 here. Costello, get out of my face.
That's it.
He's not getting anything that nice. We're 5/64 all the way.
Listen, Gary Stinnett, Mr. Stinnett makes all of those decisions. I am just chasing around parts and pieces and trying to figure out how to get back on the track. Now, we did post a QR code a couple of minutes ago out there, but the folks at GETTRX, I just checked my email, Matt, and I got the one that you sent. So guys, listen, you can just scan this right now. Scan this. and that'll take you to the link. I put the link in the chat section right now. You can see Reinhart over there, right? We'll put, Hartford under the top of it. Scan this QR code and you'll be good to go. You scan the QR code and probably, Pat and Jason Galvin and those guys, they're probably tracking to see who's scanning the card. So scan the QR code and help Hartford out. Reaction time was too slow.
I was scanning.
Scan now.
Listen,
you just
GETTRX,
outed Matt. He's trying to pad the ballot box, Joe, and you just outed him. Way to go.
Yeah, sorry.
The one thing about it is, a lot of people have heard of GETTRX, and a lot of people really don't know who GETTRX is as of today, which is what our focus has been for the last year and a half or over a year, working with GETTRX and having them on the side of the car. But a lot of people remember Global Electronics. GETTRX is powered by Global Electronics technology. GETTRX and Global Electronics is basically the same company. So if you were familiar with Global Electronics back in the day and you remember seeing the fuel cars with them on the side and the U.S. national wins and championships and all that with Global Electronics, they've been around for a long time, many, many decades. And the fact that, they now have a newer name called GETTRX is something that we're trying to just get the brand out more and more. So if you see GETTRX, Global Electronics, basically think of them as the same. All you got to know, the fastest name in credit card processing.
The official credit card processor of the National Hot Rod Association beginning this year too. So Steve Bryson, right? Steven Scott, I know we're going behind the scenes, a little inside baseball, but these guys love drag racing. This is where they have got a great business, but they love drag racing. And a lot of this is to help drag racing. They came to you, as I understand it, and maybe I'm wrong. So you tell me if I'm wrong, but the support of the Pro Stock call out was kind of an additional thing. What can you share about that? Because like I said, it's not, it's good for the whole class.
So after we got started and we had GETTRX on the side of the car for a few races, Pat Galvin and Steve Bryson and Scott, we were all kind of talking about what can we do more. And if you know anything about the Bryson family or the Galvin families, both of those families want to help people. They want to give back to the community. They want to, basically try to elevate things. And they ask, what can we do for you or what can we do for Pro Stock? And I mentioned that, we have the call out, but there's not a sponsor. Obviously, we already had the mission, the mission challenge happening, but the call out was unsponsored. And all I had to do was kind of put that breadcrumb out there, and they ran with it, and they got involved with NHRA asking, what can we do? How can we support this? And lo and behold, they're sponsoring the GETTRX All-Star call out for both the car and the bike. So we have it. The cars are in Chicago this weekend. The bikes are in Sonoma, and they did it for 3 years. They signed a 3-year contract. They also, as they did that, they also became the official credit card processor of NHRA. So they dove in head first and got back in. They're sponsoring us, they're sponsoring Hector. They got the call outs for the next 3 years. They're the official credit card processor. Everything they're doing is giving back to ultimately to the racer. It's not like they're just coming to the race and supporting. They're focused on how do we elevate the classes, how do we elevate the racer, how do we make NHRA grow. It's just great to be around people like this. And if you know anything, like I said, if you know anything about the Brysons or the Galvins, they're all involved in racing on so many factors. Jason Galvin, you guys work with him,
that's where I draw the line. We can't fuck up Jason Galvin on the show. That's sorry. I know he's out there. We can't puff up Jason Galvin. Just kidding.
Pat's son, Nick, is on, Coletta's team.
World champion Nick Galvin.
I got to see some of the swag that he got for being a champion, and that's just incredible. Hopefully we can get there someday.
Right on. Well, I only have one more question. Is Amber going to need a ride from the airport this week?
Probably. I mean, it seems like I think you give her a ride more than I do. I think that was Pomona, Dallas. Oh, wait, Joe, we had to give the ride in Dallas. Hey, Joe, keep your gas tank full.
Yes. Hey, what is that? I thought that we had
Charlotte. There was
But where's Heiner? I seen him at the beginning of the show harassing.
He said he's going to go back and watch after the fact. I dropped that link in the chat section. All right. So one more thing, right? Very positive face going into this race. I wish you the best. Good luck. But you touched on something a little bit earlier. I would like for you to close the circuit on, our best most viewed YouTube video was Kurt Johnson taking us on a tour of Flying H when it was just dirt, right? It was just, had barely been graded. And now we have this incredible video. Check this out, guys. You became the first pro stock car to ever go down Flying H Motorsports Park. That launch sounded great, like a build up to the drama of the launch as you're testing. I don't know if the competition could discern anything from that, but it looked like it launched pretty well to me. But go a little deeper into this track. Do you think we're going to be there next year? This is a new build, a new track. We saved one in Joliet. We're going back to Richmond, another very smooth and perfect racetrack this year with that 2-day program. What about Flying H? What does Hartford want to say about this place? Is there going to be a national event there? Should there be, in your opinion?
So with anything in life, the product is always important, but the most important thing is the people. And let me tell you, when you're around Scott and Blake and Emily and everybody that works at that track, even if the track wasn't good, which it is, it's phenomenal. You would want to go there just because of how great the people are. They are so welcoming. They want you to be there. They're walking around. They're part of, you feel like they're part of your team when you're there. You don't feel it's the racer versus the track. And I think anybody who's ever raced knows that sometimes you go places and you kind of feel that way. It's kind of the track has this hierarchy and you're just the racer. They make you feel that you're wanted and that they're willing to go to whatever it takes to make you happy. With that being said, you couple that is the smoothest, flattest, nicest racetrack I have ever let the clutch out on in my life. And I'm not taking anything away from any of the other ones that are really good. Now, granted, this is a brand new track, but you're always in pro stock saying, well, first car out, you got this, you got that. We were the first car out and it took everything we could throw at it and more. And it wasn't like it was glued down. It was just the way that the track held rubber, how smooth it was, just from the starting line to the finish line. Kurt Johnson did an incredible job. And are we going to have a national event there? I really hope so. I talked to Scott, the track owner, about it. And obviously he can't confirm or deny that they are or not. But what he did say is he says, we were not ready for 2024 to have a national event. I said, you are absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct that it's not ready in 2024 for a national event. The infrastructure around the track is not ready. Their tower isn't completed yet. But let me tell you, when they turn on the light switch at night, it's brighter than it is during the daytime. So, they've got the track is done, the lighting is done, they're getting their pits done. But, all you can see around the track is dozers and land movers and trucks, and they have a lot of work to do. Will it be there in 25? Man, I hope so, because if it is, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. No, great video. And to see it, folks, go to our YouTube channel. Hopefully you're already subscribed, but go find the Kurt Johnson video because it's amazing to see what was and now what is, to hear Kurt talk all about it. And he's got to feel like, like a proud papa because it was his vision and now it is reality. I really hope we are there in 2025. Matt, good luck. This is it, right? The GETTRX Pro Stock All-Star Call-Out. Factory Hot Rods taking center stage. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be out there at Route 66 Raceway. And I appreciate making a little time. Hopefully some of the WFO universe will scan that QR code and take you up on that offer and, get with GETTRX, the official credit card processor of the National Hot Rod Association.
Yeah. And, I encourage everybody to come by. There you go. When Connolly was in the car in Bradenton. But I encourage you to, everybody to come by, come see us. We'll gladly talk to you about it. All the GETTRX people will be in Chicago, so it'll be an easy place to talk to them. Hoping that Mr. Reinhart, when he's sitting in the booth, glad to have him back in Chicago this year. Hoping that, he can mention that there's $250 on the line for any new merchants that sign up. That would be very helpful to us. Obviously, GETTRX is supporting NHRA. They're supporting the racers. We need to do everything we can as racers and business owners to support them back.
Facts.
Great. I will certainly pass on the message. No problem at all.
Thank you.
All right, Matt. Very good. Good luck. See you this weekend. Thank you so much.
See you in a couple days.
See you in a couple days.
Matt Hartford with us here on WFO Radio. What do you think of that, Reinhart? He's telling you what to do.
Well, I mean, that's my job, right? It's not like he's got to instruct. It's just that's what I do, and no, happy to do it. I think it's great when the sponsors get involved, because especially when you have a sponsor, there are some sponsors out there that the average fan doesn't really have a need for, right? I mean, I think you look at Levi Rain Shop was a classic example. Love Dick Levi for everything he does with the sport. But how many people sitting in the grandstands go, yeah, I need a company that size to help me with my technology and the stuff that I do? Very, very few. But how many people sitting in the grandstands have a business, take credit cards, do business with a credit card, that GETTRX is somebody that they can get involved with? So I think it's a great promotion, and hopefully they have to go out and buy more and more and more of those gift cards by the end of the weekend.
Yes, exactly. And, the thing about drag racers is most of them have a business that is what they do to fund their drag racing. And if Hartford can get some people to switch, that'll be good for his program. It'll be good for Pro Stock. It'll be good for the call out. It'll be good for everybody. And especially the end business user. And I got a chance to hang out with Steve Bryson a little bit. He's a good guy. That is most importantly. Like, again, it's the people. It comes down to the people. All right. Speaking of which, right, we got a good audience out there. We ask everybody to repost on X or share wherever you happen to be. Share the show, even if you're listening in the future, as we are excited. I don't know if you heard me at the very start. 22 Top Fuel dragsters, Alan Reinhart. 16 spots, 22 Top Fuel dragsters. We got the 4th qualifying session has been added. Thank goodness. To try to get 16 in out of 22 in 3 sessions would have been hairy, right? That would have been a dicey situation. We got, Travis Shoemake is back. We got a lot of people trying to make this. Krista Baldwin. I'm so excited about Krista in her home, region of her grandfather. Like, so many great stories out there. We've got 18 funny cars, 19 pro stockers, 19 pro stock motorcycles, Congruity Pro Mod, Factory X, FlexJet Factory Stock Showdown, the Lucas Oil Series. There's so much going on at this race. So just take it off the top. What sticks out in your mind? What are you excited about?
I'm excited about Q4 because anytime we get into a situation where we have that many fighting for it, and we have decent weather, and it looks like we're going to have potential.
Come on, let's go.
Is that me? Is that you? I don't know what this is.
I have no idea.
That's me. Let's go. There we go. You know what it is, Alan? You know what it is?
What?
I'm going to tell everybody, listen, I don't like to always go behind the scenes. I have NHRA.com up on my other screen, and one of those pop-up ads just got me. It popped up. The NHRA.com pop-up ads. I guess I got to minimize that screen. I just decided to play. So somebody got a free ad on WFO.
And now you know how the sausage is made. Speaking of NHRA, I found out something, and I'm trying to figure out how this happened, because you know me, right? You know how me and technology, we're like that.
Yes, yeah.
I was messing around with my smart TV the other day, and the NHRA, whatever their broadcast is, it shows like all the old stuff and like the NHRA channels. Specific channel.
Yeah.
Came up on my TV, and I have no idea how. Because
it probably heard you talking about it. Your phone probably heard you and then offered it up for you.
I don't have cable TV, and I don't have the internet at my house. So how would my TV be getting this off of an antenna on the top of my roof?
It's not.
It was on my TV.
It's an app that's like your phone is probably listening to you talk all the time about NHRA, and it knows that's like one of the big keywords that you say. And so when you set up your television, which is a smart TV, those apps, they loaded for you all by themselves.
But where would it come from?
Through your phone, maybe the only signal that it detects.
No, because my phone wasn't set up in hotspot mode, and I don't know. I mean,
Lauren says it was the solar flares. It was the northern lights, and the solar flares is definitely the reason. I don't know, Alan. That is kind of spooky. But now that you mention those channels, and I watched on Tubi one day, and I got just sucked in. They're 5 hours I'll never get back, because it's every old race, every classic race. Just, you never have to watch anything but NHRA drag racing if you want on those channels. It's amazing.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I just can't figure out how it showed up on my TV, because my TV, I don't have an internet deal at the house because I'm never there. So I'm not going to pay for cable TV or pay for an internet deal when I'm at the house. I've got a hotspot deal that I need when I need to turn on my computer. And it's not, my TV's not part of that. I took the TV out of the box. I hooked the antenna to it. I put it on the wall and plugged in the surround sound. So anyway, I just was kind of fascinated by that. But anyway, you asked me what I was really looking forward to in Chicago.
Yes.
Q4.
Yes.
Because when we have a situation like that, it will come down to a pretty stout bump spot after 3 sessions in all of the categories. And it will come down to somebody's that you normally would think would be qualified that aren't. And then it's going to be, okay, you know what? Reinhart makes a good run. He gets in. Now Castello's out. Well, Castello's in the next pair because of the way we run the lineup, right? And that, to me, is some of the most fun I have from my office, is calling situations like that when you get into Q4. And you mentioned Krista Baldwin. I think, the investment that Krista Baldwin made buying Pat Dickens' operation, I honestly believe, and if I'm wrong, I'm sure that she'll call me and say I'm an idiot, that because she has that car is the only reason that she's going to Chicago. I mean, yes, it's her grandfather's hometown race. Yes, I get all of that. But if you remember last year, she was picking and choosing races because, hey, there's only 15 cars there, there's only 16 cars there, or I know I'm going to qualify, because that's how she kept her program going. But having the equipment now where she knows she can go out there and run those 370s that's going to take the race, I honestly believe that that's one of the main reasons that she went to Chicago, because she's going in there now. She's not running scared anymore. She's not going to races because, okay, I know there's only 15 cars, so I'm going to qualify. She's going in there going, you know what? It sucks to be one of those guys on the outside because my car's fast enough to get me in any show that I go to. And I think that's great. That, she's invested in her program, and now it's paying dividends for her.
Yeah, at TJ Zizzo, I'm not 100% certain, but in the past, Ron Tobler has gone out there to help him. There's a lot of fast cars. This is going to be very interesting to see who can make the field and who is going to be on the outside looking in. But yeah, I agree. Krista's got a fast car, and she can make the most of it. Funny car. We've had such an amazing run. Matt Hagan, Bob Tasca won the 4-wide races, but John Force, now 75 years old, he's still very competitive. Austin Prock, that story, J.R. Todd, there's so many quality funny cars out there. It's very difficult to handicap. We talked a little bit about Paul Lee. Paul Lee is in the best position he has been in the last 10 years, in my opinion, with the way that car is running and how they're doing and the personnel he's got. It's just so hard to handicap. Why am I saying all this? I want everybody to go to this race, Alan. Like, this is the race you got to go to, because everybody is showing up and we're trying to save this track permanent.
Yeah. And then, let's move on over to Pro Stock, because as we've seen already this year, some big name in Pro Stock is going to end up being a Sunday spectator. That bug bit Derek Kramer earlier in the year. It's bitten Hartford. There are too many good cars out there right now, and some name contending Pro Stock racer that you don't expect is going to end up being a Sunday spectator because of that. And again, you just want to make darn sure that it ain't you, right? As Matt said, that he believes Friday night's going to be the best. I think Saturday we run at noon. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit warmer on Saturday. But that Saturday morning session, typically the air's dry. It's at least comparable to Friday night. So I think that, those are going to be the two that really make a difference. I wouldn't want to be a Pro Stock guy that's out going into qualifying session number 4 when we're running in the middle of Sunday or Saturday afternoon when it's, 5, 6, 8 degrees warmer than it was the day before. But it's going to happen to somebody. And then we'll figure out, can that somebody figure out a way to overcome?
Yeah, nerves, right? We talk a lot about, pressure, the word pressure. We try to avoid it because everybody's under pressure, but it's so different when there's 16 cars and when there's 19 cars. There's 22 cars. It's just so different.
Hey, because you mentioned John Force just turned 75, I was one of the people that was asked to do a little video thing for John for his birthday. And so I did a little research. Do you know who the president was when John Force was born?
Was it Harry Truman?
Harry Truman. I mean, John wasn't old enough to vote for him, but it just puts it in perspective, right? I mean, Harry.
Give him
Truman
hell,
was
Harry.
president.
Yeah. No, that's it's impressive. Well,
Yeah.
I think that Force is he's a force of nature, and we all are so accustomed to him being around. But if you walked out of drag racing into some other universe and said, hey, there's a 75-year-old and he's competing against people that are in their 20s, and he wins his share, right?
Yeah.
I don't think people would believe you. In the rock and roll universe, Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones are out there. He's 80 and he brings it. It's a big show, but he's not like competing against 20-year-old Mick Jaggers that are trying to make their name and knock him out. He's doing his version of his hits. What John Force is doing is, is it unnatural? I don't know what it is, but it's an amazing feat. And I just think that, I don't know, a lot of people, they're not, I've been saying this a lot lately. Like, I don't think young people like old people, Alan, is really what it is. I know this is a horrible thing to say, and you're getting behind the scenes, but young people don't like old people because they don't want to see what they're about to become, right? They don't want to think about that. Like, oh my God, I don't want to look like that. They don't want to be like that. They don't think about it. They don't want to think about it. But man, I like to think that if I am 75, lucky enough to get there, I will be as competitive at whatever I'm doing as John Force is at what he's doing.
Well, I think he's a time traveler, because he obviously, the entire Star Wars craze, he was there for that. And that happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yes.
So I think, I think he's a time traveler. I don't know where he's going to go when he leaves here, whether it'll be 300, 500, 2,000 years in the future or 300, 500, 2,000 years in the past. But yeah, that's just, that I can't think of another explanation for it.
Alien. He's an alien. That could be. We got to ask him.
I didn't say alien. I said time traveler.
That's
Joe hates old people and extraterrestrials. That's what we've come up with here. See, that's
No,
what
I
the
like
internet works, Joe.
I like the old people and the extraterrestrials. I'm the only one fighting on behalf of the old people. Everybody else wants to attack the poor old people. I'm fighting. It's probably because I'm from South Florida. There's a big connection there. There's a lot of older folks around these parts. Pro Stock Motorcycle, the Gage show. Gage has got the perfect season going, right? I know nobody likes to talk about that, but being from Miami, the Miami Dolphins, the perfect season until they stop him. He's got the perfect season going. Could it be Gino Scali, the one to knock Gage off the top? I just want to mix those two metaphors. Gino is back in Pro Stock Motorcycle. How cool is that?
I think it's great. I think it'll probably take him a couple of runs to get acclimated, but Gino won the championship in, what was it, 07, something like that, a few years back. And, the guy certainly can ride a bike. It's amazing for as long as he's been away that he has stayed in such good shape. Every time I see him, it's like, okay, it's a typical deal, right? It's been how long since I've seen you? And you still look exactly like you did. The old classic, when you bump into somebody you haven't seen in 20 years and they haven't aged a day, that's Gino. But, putting him on the bike will just add a little bit more degree of difficulty to whoever gets out of there with the Pro Stock trophy. And I'm kind of with you. Until somebody shows me they can beat Gage, it's, the drag race bracket bonanza, that's the easy one, right? You pencil Gage into the winner's circle, and then you put Gage in the semis, Gage in the second round, and then you go fill out the rest of the stuff because, we all kind of anticipate what's going to happen there.
Until 2003 champ, says Walt. It's good for Gino though. Good for people coming back into the sport, and get after it. But until someone beats Gage or Gage, beats himself, he is the guy. A lot else going on, but I think maybe the most important thing that we'll do all weekend is a Friday morning at 11:30 a.m. the celebration of life for Don Schumacher. I've been thinking about Don a lot lately. All these different reputations, hard-nosed business person, really challenging motivator to the people that worked for him, but so good for the sport of drag racing. He was always very kind to me personally, like always had very nice things to say, and we'd laugh about different stuff on the starting line. And this is the race. A lot of people ask, why didn't we do this at the Gator Nationals? Why didn't we do this at Pomona? Because Chicago is the place. And to think about what Don Schumacher has done for drag racing that is over and beyond the call of natural duty for something that you like. It's amazing. It's amazing. All the people that he has motivated, that he is touched with his, his ability to get the most out of people. Look at his former drivers, Antron and Capps and Hagen. They're all excelling. And Tony Schumacher, of course, goes without saying. It's going to be a very big deal when we have that moment of silence for Don Schumacher.
I agree. And, Don, I see Don as one of the biggest contradictions of people that I've ever met, because you mentioned the hard-nosed business Don. If he was in business, to make money, and he was going to make money, and he was very focused on that. And, there's one of the old sayings in business, right? You can make friends or you can make money. Well, he was there to make money and was tremendously successful in all of his business ventures, whether it was taking, Schumacher Electric from a small organization to a global organization, whether it was taking Don Schumacher Racing from one car to the juggernaut, whether it was Don Schumacher Machine, the manufacturing facility, everything he did. And he drove a hard bargain. There's no doubt about it. But the other Don Schumacher was so incredibly compassionate. Somebody blew the body off a car. Do we have a spare that'll fit? Do we have to get over there, get it to him, get him back on track? Let's make sure he's going. Somebody's struggling. Get over there and help him. Does he need parts? Does he need technologies? Does he need? Get over there and help him. We need to do whatever we can to help out this person in their time of need. And like I said, the contradiction, I think, is pretty amazing, because not everybody who is very hard-nosed in a business sense has that side to go help somebody when they're struggling. And not everybody who has, who can flip the switch. I know a lot of very compassionate people that when they get into it, they're like, look, you need to make a hard decision here. And they struggle doing that. But Don basically excelled at what he did, whatever he did. If he was going fishing, he wanted to be the best fisherman on the lake or on the ocean. If he was in business, he wanted to make the best stuff that he could. If somebody needed help, he wanted to be the one to step up and offer that help. And, everything he did, he went all in on. I don't think there's any question about that. And just, he certainly changed the face of NHRA and for the better. And his influence will be felt for a number of years. But I'm really curious about how many teams, how many people are going to come by and tell a story about, Don did this for me that people don't know about. Because again, when, there are a number of times, and some of it was pretty high profile, you couldn't keep it a secret, but there were a number of times when Don went out of his way to help somebody that was struggling, and it didn't make news headlines. And, he was very compassionate about when somebody was struggling, when somebody was in trouble, when somebody needed help, he wanted to help. Now, when they got to the starting line, all he wanted to do was make you go home crying. But when you were in a situation where you needed help, he wanted to help. And that, like I said, very, very contradictory, the two personalities, but both of them very impressive.
Yes. One of the great early WFO interviews that we did with Don when we were audio only. This was at the very beginning. I told him he reminded me of George Steinbrenner, New York Yankees owner, and had a lot of that. All of that you just described. Very difficult to work for. Expected the most. He was known for firing people, but had a soft side as well and did a lot of great things. And I asked, Don Schumacher, like, hey, George Steinbrenner, what do you make of this guy? And he said that he was one of his influences. And you can see it very, very clearly. Just great guy. Tony, he's got a quick hot rod, man. Tony Schumacher could get up there and win this thing. They're going to have a special paint scheme. People are asking if we know if there's going to be any, funny car throwbacks this weekend. I don't know that, but I'll be watching for the Don Schumacher tribute car. I know that Jerron Settles painted a helmet, flying airbrush that Tony's going to be wearing. And I have been fortunate enough to see the helmet. It is amazing. Cannot reveal to the audience. You guys are going to have to wait and see, but it's going to be big for fans of the Don.
Yeah, it will be. And as you said, Chicago is the right place to do it. Chicago is his hometown. And from a friend's family, that kind of standpoint, there's going to be a whole lot more if we did it in Gainesville or we did it at Pomona. Chicago is definitely the right place to do it. And yeah, that's just, one of the many things going on this weekend that I'm looking forward to.
Okay, Factory X back again. The Stanfields have won the first couple, but Holbrook got a very quick and fast hot rod. There's a couple more. They're still learning those cars. Grade Factory X, couple of races in. Where do you think we are so far?
Incomplete. I want to see at least 4 before I give any kind of a legitimate grade. I think what you said, people are still learning the cars. I think that's exactly right. You look at Aaron Stanfield, darn near didn't qualify at the last event after, and then ended up winning the thing. So I think that, the cars are still, the cars haven't been refined to the point that everybody's real comfortable with. This is what we do in these conditions. These are the adjustments we make for this, which makes it more fun to watch because, I love Pro Stock, but I like the uncertainty of, the cars don't always make a great run. They don't always do what you tell them to do. And Pro Stock has been perfected to the point, I love when you walk into the trailer and the guy says, oh, well, we're going to be able to run 652.8. And then he goes out there and runs 652.9. And you go, wow. But the fact that the cars, there's still a lot of experimentation going on. There's still enough that they're on the edge that sometimes, they don't make it, that they smoke the tires or shake the tires or get out of the groove. And I think that adds to the excitement of the category is that you really aren't 100% sure what's going to happen when they drop the clutch. So give me 2 more races and then I'll put together a report card. I think the Blackbird might have something to say about who gets out of there with the trophy this week. They still are struggling to find the sweet spot of that car. I don't believe horsepower is a problem. And I don't believe the driver's the problem. I believe the problem is figuring out what the car wants because there's just no notebook you can go to for, what do you do with 1,500 horsepower on a 10.5 tire in a car that weighs 2,600 pounds? Everybody's learning it as they go.
Right, with the 13-inch crankshaft center line, the wheelbase is line. It's very interesting to watch. We know they're all geniuses. All right, geniuses, here's your new challenge. Get out there and solve the problem, and we'll see how it all works. Congruity Pro Mod, presented by ITGR and Learn EV Plus. Happy to have those fine folks back with us once again.
I'm sorry, I just got a text about Amber's ride from the airport.
Oh, really?
No, the Pro Mods, every time they show up, they add tremendously to the category because, again, the car's on the edge, right? More power than they really need. And there hasn't been, for the last few years, there really hasn't been a dominant look out for this guy. Week to week, somebody shows up. The Bahrain 1 team probably had the best year last year, but they didn't win the championship. They won the most races. They had great hot rods out there. Anytime you've got cars that are that fast and that are on the edge, the fans love them, and they're just a great addition. I'm even looking forward to the street exhibition, seeing Alex Taylor and that gang come out there and attack Chicago again.
Yeah, gonna be great. Super excited. Final thoughts? Anything else that you want to highlight, maybe from this past weekend, whatever you had going on, as we get ready for the Gerber Collision and Glass Route 66 NHRA Nationals in Chicago?
I had nothing going on this last weekend. I was kind of laying around the house and did a couple of projects that I've been behind on a little bit. I did take the Mustang out last week and put a couple of miles on it. Went and splashed the oil around, so I got that done. But no, it was a pretty quiet weekend for me here at the shop. I'm looking forward to going to Chicago. The fact that I wasn't there last year makes me even more excited to get there. I'm going in tomorrow, doing some press stuff, and then there's some customer events that are going to take place on Thursday. So I'm going in a day early to get all that stuff taken care of. But no, just bring it on, and I hope that the fans in the neighborhood will come out and support the racetrack because you guys were very, very close to losing the facility. Let's make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yes, and it could. It's just a matter of the decision makers deciding. So we want to make that decision very hard for them, and hopefully they will allow us to continue to.
We want to make it very easy for them.
Well, correct, to the upside. Yes. Hard on the downside, easy on the upside. We got to keep this thing going. It's one of the nicest tracks in the world. We got to keep it going and keep it active. Alan, great job as usual. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe. Look forward to it every week. Travel safe, and I'll see you in a couple days.
There he goes, the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate you joining us each week right here on WFO Radio. All right, guys. I got a couple of things for you today. I want your comments. Put your comments in the comments section. Anything that you want to discuss. We got a little bit of time. I want to hear what you have to say about the Pro Stock All-Star Call-Out. Obviously, 22 top fuel dragsters. We're going to have a great race going back to this amazing facility right in the middle of the country. I'm going to get a Chicago-style hot dog. I just found out I'll be going to Wrigley Field for the first time, hopefully, assuming my flight is on time. All of these things are going down. But we did discuss something on the Ignition Show, and we kind of got to it organically, that I want to present to the WFO audience and get your take before I take it any higher. We are going to do that. Your comments, like Mike says, old people rule, right? Like, listen, am I wrong? Hard truths that, like, how do you say it? Old people get a bad rap. Like, people are coming at them like, oh, you're old. You're ugly and old. That's true, man. Don't tell me that's not true. Maybe not everybody. Not me. Of course not. I'm exactly the opposite. But I'm putting it out there. A very difficult truth in society, in the civilization. Man, ageism is a thing. And if you're telling me it's not a thing, I don't know. I think that a lot of people, they see two people doing the same thing and one of them's old, it's because they're old. And if the younger person does the exact same thing, it doesn't even register. It's just people don't want to see themselves like that. That's what I think. But maybe I'm wrong. And by all means, I'm open to suggestion. All right. Your comments and a couple of more interesting notes after this.
Foggit is a high-performance fogging oil designed especially for internal combustion engines. Foggit can be used by everyone. If you have a lawnmower, a jet ski, a motorcycle, a tractor, a high-performance car, a classic car, racing vehicles, if it has a cylinder wall, it needs Foggit.
Gary Stent, four-time Supercomp World Champ, puts together Foggit. We appreciate those guys supporting WFO Radio. In addition to our Patreon co-hosts, the Patreons are out there supporting WFO Radio. If you want to join our Patreon page, you may do so. Of course, we ask you to check out the show on PowerTube TV. PowerTube TV, available on Roku, Apple, Samsung. It's one of those channels where there's all kinds of great content. Clay's got his show on there, PowerTube TV. Be sure to hit it up, check them out, and get on board with WFO Radio like you can watch from your house. Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin is down there in Fort Worth, Texas. He's a longtime friend of the show and sponsor. If you like coffee, you must try this coffee. It's as simple as that. But the hot sauces and spice rub really put it over the top. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin, 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Driving a dragster. When was the last time you did that? And the answer is probably never. What is it? Like 0.0001% of the Earth's population has driven a dragster. It's probably less, right? You can drive a dragster for very little money and have a day experience that you will love. And it will help you understand why these cars are so much fun. FrankHawley.com. It makes a great gift, the dragster adventure. And then, of course, our great friends at samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. We always say it. Start your education at full speed. Let's see what people have to say. Yeah, no cell phones for old people. Remember, old people are old. Wait, Mike, I'm guessing that you're old. No, you're blessed to have been able to get old. That's really the answer. The people who don't get old, like, they say only the good die young. I don't know about that. I hope I get there, but I see it a lot. I don't know. It is what it is. 70 years young and I'm living large. Way to go, Ricky. You're doing a great job. Old people run everything by default. More experience. Isn't that the truth? Wisdom. Well, it used to be once upon a time, like, tribal elders, right? You think about the Native American culture. The people who had the most wisdom and experience were the ones that people looked to. I don't see that anymore. Old school. I'm 74 and digging it. Learning a little bit about our audience here today, but you're all online watching a live stream. So you're not, you're beyond the Reinhart level of technology, right? Let's see. Have a great rest of your week. All of these things. Where would the world be without old people? I've touched a nerve. I have touched a nerve a little bit. This gentleman says, Ricky Smith, bracket raced Pro Mod to a Hun. I agree that non-perfect cars make great races. So I was watching the Lucas Oil TV show, and the final round of Ricky and Comp from ZMAX Dragway was what I thought I saw live. One of the coolest drag racing moments ever. That Comp car they were running, I forget who it was in the final round, it was a super mod, is a fast car. It's a fast car. Like, those cars are wicked fast. They're unbelievably fast. Like, Project Pontiac isn't going to be that fast. Like, it's fast. And he's past the 8th mile marker, coming up on 8th mile when Ricky turned it loose, and he caught him. Just visually mind freaking. It was insane to watch Ricky do that, but a tremendous, like, patiently waiting for his side of the tree to come down. Pretty amazing. Oh, here we go. Now it's going. Young people need to remember us old people invented the tech that allows young people to think they're smarter than the old people. But then it becomes, so that's when you become old, honestly, is when you stop learning new things. New technology. Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't know how to use that. I won't know how to use that. That's too new, too advanced. You've just become old. The second you're unwilling to try some sort of new technology, you have to always remember they make the new technology easier to use, not harder to use. If you know how to use a rotary phone, you can probably figure out how to use an iPhone. You know, it's one of those things. All right. Subject change. Not only do I need everybody to subscribe and click the bell, and hopefully I'll put the QR code for all you business owners up there that want to get with GETTRX, but I had a bit of a moment last week at the press conference watching Erica and Greg and Dallas Glenn and everybody that was involved in this GETTRX Pro Stock All-Star call out. And it had me thinking, you know, Erica has the power to call somebody out, and she can't reveal who she's going to call out. She can't do that. That eliminates the drama of the big call out moment. So she's got to keep that close to the vest. And it's interesting watching everyone deal with this situation. Why was the call out invented? The call out was invented because, you've got these Street Outlaws style TV shows, and, there's more of a random nature to it, and just kind of flip the script a little bit. Like, they just wanted to mix it up a little bit. Like, whatever you do, it will become boring if you do it every single week, always, whatever it is. If we had the drivers, and this is an analogy I use on a regular basis, but if we had the drivers parachute out of a plane for driver introductions and come like the Golden Knights down into the starting line, every one of them, the first few times, everyone will be amazed. Like, I didn't know Erica Enders could parachute out of a plane. But by the 5th season of that, people would grow tired of it. They would be like, man, this Erica parachuting out of a plane again. Like, can't they mix it up a little bit? That's just human nature. That's the way it goes. And we have to understand that. So this call out, I was fortunate to be around as the idea, simmered and people kicked it around and talked a little bit about it. And, me and Loans had some conversations in here, and everybody have conversations about, like, man, the call out should happen. And the powers that be at the NHRA, they made this thing happen, and it happened. And it's interesting. Earlier this year, during the press conference, someone asked Steve Torrence about it, and he called it contrived drama. Contrived drama. And I think Steve was the guy who got to make the call out. I forget who it was who made the Top Fuel call out earlier this year. And so watching Erica in the same situation the other day, and that press conference is up. I think you can see it somewhere. If not, you just trust me, as I know you do. Didn't appear to be relishing in the opportunity to call out somebody. Just didn't seem like a fun thing. And so it got me thinking. It got me thinking, like, what's wrong with the call out? Why is this? I'm not saying it's not working, but something is definitely not working as well as we think it could be working. And what is that? What is that? So this is what we explored on the Ignition Show. And I would love for you to go listen to the Ignition Show and all of our shows, especially the audio only ones. and support all of our sponsors and buy a bunch of WFO stuff. But I will share with you because I want your feedback. The call out, where does it come from? What is it? What does that come from? Well, it's made public through Street Outlaws, and that whole Street Outlaws getting bought kind of thing, that's a topic for another day, but it's on my radar. Someone who wants what someone else has in our drag racing universe is what the call out is. If you put it in the context of the list, someone below is always calling out someone above to try to get their status, to try to increase their own status. And the way we're doing it is, if you acquire the most points during a period of certain way, if you are first, you've earned the right to call somebody out. And so I present to everybody out there in the WFO universe and in the NHRA greater community that we're doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong by letting the person who is number one call out, forgive the term, a lesser than. Where's the fun in that? That's not what we're talking about. Someone who is in a position of success and power, they get called out by someone who wants their success and power. You think a king of the mountain or queen of the mountain in this case. You're sitting on top of the mountain. She's a 6-time champ. She's going to have 50 wins. She's one of the greatest of all time. What thrill does Erica get for calling out a lesser than? And I'm saying that it's hyperbole to imply, the people around her, looking up at her. Maybe the call out would be more interesting if Derek Kramer got to make the call out. Yeah, you're last. You're 8th. You're last. You get to call someone out. And it works in reverse. And that's what I'm presenting as a concept here today. I'm not saying it's the best idea in the world. I'm not saying it's the worst. Just dwell on it. Think about it. The top 4 call out what? It's a game to see if they will go duck hunting or they will take out their near, they will accept the challenge of their near peer. That's where we're at right now. But if you flip-flopped it, and if you finish 8th in those point standings, you are in theory the worst. Again, racers, don't take it personally. I think you're all great. I know how hard you work. I understand all the money that is spent. I love all of the racers, but we developed a system where we learned that 8 is below 7 and 7 is below 6. It's called numbers and math. And so if you're 8, you're below 7 and 7 is below 6 and they're all below 1. Wouldn't it be more interesting if the lowest had to decide if Derek Kramer, he could, would he call out Erica? I don't know. Does he think he can beat Erica? Does Erica, I'm going to take a swing at the number 1 person. Or maybe the 8th place person would always take the number 1 person and probably 7 out of 10 get whooped. And what would happen? Humiliation. Hey, I think I can beat you. Bap, you're out. That increases the intrigue, I think. Or maybe they would take Hartford because they've been struggling. Or maybe, I don't know. But I think that call outs traditionally is someone behind calling out someone in front to try to pull them back, to try to get what they have. And that's not the way we're doing it. We're doing it in a different way. We're letting the person who has already got everything, the champ, 50 wins, greatest of all time, fastest car, all of those things. We're giving them the power to call somebody out. I don't know. I think that something can be done with that. And let's see what you have to say. But before I do that, I just want to mention WFO merch. Please get in on it. And again, our Patreon co-hosts, the people who are involved with WFO Radio, they get to hear it from Heiner Show. They get to watch our Ignition audio only show. They get to watch it and see everybody behind the scenes. And this week, our Monday Motivation Show had a very special guest who is a professional motivator to get everybody motivated. Someone had even commented that of all the Patreon groups that they're a part of, that WFO Radio does the most to try to benefit their Patreon. So, all right, let's see what you guys got to say. Got a couple minutes to oh, this guy's still on it, Michael. Garlitz is only 92. Oh, learn for the future, Joe. Is 105 more than 50? Yes. But she's the champ right now, though, Chester. They battled last year, toe-to-toe, head-to-head. And Erica's got 6. And she's got 6 since 2012. It's 2024. That's like 50% of the years. Erica's been the champ. Listen, Greg, greatest of all time, winningest of all time to this point. But that's, and she, it's an interesting deal. Okay. Erica runs Hartford. That will be wild. I don't think she's going to pick Hartford. I know Reinhart said that. I don't think she's going to pick Hartford. I think she's going to pick Greg. And that is the origin of what I'm talking about. I think Erica has to pick Greg. I think she has to pick Greg to keep her rep. She goes duck hunting, Hartford, Kramer, or she's not going to pick an elite car. Like, we know that. She's not going to pick Christian Quadra. That's not going to happen. It's going to be elite versus KB in every round. Why would they do that? It doesn't really seem to make sense. I think everybody agrees. So, she said it. They all say it. If you're the person that's on top, you want to race the person that is, you want to beat the best. You got to beat the best. And so I fully expect Erica to pick Greg Anderson in the first round and maybe lose, but there's no downside to losing to Greg Anderson. Yeah, you don't win the money, but there's no extra. If she picks Hartford and he beats her, there's significant downside to that. There's personal feelings there. So let's see. Damn, Joe agrees with me. I haven't heard you say that, Jim Essex. Flip it. I haven't heard anybody say this. Put a bounty on the ones who make money. Contrived controversy are often perfectly mounted in WWE, Street Outlaws, all the way down to the bounties of beating local hot shoe. Yeah, bounties. Who's going to put up the bounty, right? Like you beat him, you get a little extra money. My personal experience, Kimmy, is that once the only person that cares about the bounty is the person that collects the bounty. I don't think that there's anybody in the grandstands that's like, oh, so excited that somebody won a bounty. I don't think I've certainly bought a ticket because someone is going to win a bounty. Steve says, what's up? It's always the same people doing the calling out. It is always the same people doing the call out. Look, think about this. Greg and Erica, those two, like each other, dislike each other, peas in a pod, whatever, oil, water, whatever you want to say. How many championships? They've got 11 championships together. So since 2000s, 24 years, they've got pretty much half of the championships, 2 drivers. Now, it's because they are amazing, but maybe disrupting that power structure a little bit. And the Pro Stock call out, in my humble opinion, has gotten stale for one reason. So it can't be stale because it's brand new. Like you buy some bread and you open it, it's brand new and it was cooked today. It can't be stale. There's got to be something else. As I recall, the best part about a Sunday at the track was the guy floating to the ground with Old Glory with him. I always hope they still do that. What do you mean? You don't know, Henry? Come on. When have you been to the race? Sometimes it happens. Not always. Sometimes. But that's the thing. You can't normalize anything. You've got to have 4 or 5 moves. Ask any bracket racer, right? You go out there, you go double O, you go dead on. Eventually, you start getting beat because you're doing the same thing every time. You got to mix it up. And the same is true for an audience. I know John DeFlorian, he rocks. Everyone should meet him. Yeah, DeFlorian is great. Good show. Cool. Hartford seems cool. The call out is similar to how, after qualifying, the lowest time always gets matched up with the quickest. Kind of bugs me that it makes it even tougher to go rounds for the 16th qualifier, right? But we do have that happen from time to time. But by being number one, you earn something. That's the whole logic of it. And being number one in the call out points, they want you to earn something, which is the opportunity to call out. And what I'm saying is, maybe by being eighth, you're forced to call out. Something like that. Cliff, one of the most intriguing aspects of NHRA drag racing is that the number 16 qualifier can beat number one in round one on Sunday. Having the call out made by a lesser would provide the same intrigue. Well, exactly. If, number 8 calls out number one, how do they feel? They've what? I'll show you. And then they stomp them into the ground and, regular order is restored. I don't know. I just been spending a little time thinking about this, and we'll see how it all works out. I can see it that way too, Joe. The issue isn't the format. Honestly, the drivers will make it what it is. The reason NPK called out work is because the drivers, nothing to do with the format. I don't know. Do the NPK callouts work? That's a TV show. NPK, no offense, Drag Racing Mayhem, but NPK is a TV show. It's competition, but it's a TV show. Whereas this is pure competition. It's different. And I think that the people who are at NPK would tell you the same thing, behind the scenes or otherwise. Dan Nagy, personally, a chip draw for the shootout. I'm now to the point where I am, again, the initial chip draws were interesting. And now I'm over it. Chip draw, boring, right? Like, it's random. Like, wouldn't it be great if we could? No, that didn't happen. Oh, just leaves me wanting more. I don't know. Just interesting thoughts from the mind of Joe Castello. And I appreciate everybody for weighing in. All right, guys. Final show of the week here. Getting ready for Chicago. Getting ready to head out. Got a lot of behind the scenes things to take care of in the WFO universe. The good news is we've got a great 2-hour ignition show. If you were a Patreon, you can watch it. There's a Hear It From Heiner episode available. And of course, what we just saw, there's a lot to dig in and sink your teeth into. If you're anywhere near Chicago, hopefully you will join us. Hopefully you will join us out at the racetrack and be a part of this. Super Street is racing in Chicago. I'm super excited to see the Midwest's best 1090 cars as they battle it out. This past weekend, we had all kinds of great drag racing action. I was here in South Florida for 2 consecutive weekends. I don't even know what to do. It's incredible. But NHRA just tweeted and posted. Oh, well, let's go to the NHRA's page and see what we've got. Let's see what we got. NHRA partners with Alt Sports Data, an exclusive global sports betting data rights agreement. NHRA officials announced today an exclusive partnership with Alt or ALT Sports Data, leading provider of cutting-edge sports data analytics solutions. As part of the agreement, Alt Sports will become the sole distributor of sports betting data for NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series events, strengthening its leading position as a major operator in the sports data betting market. Based in San Diego, Alt Sports Data is renowned in its expertise for providing exclusive and offering special trading data, etc., and so on. I am under the assumption that this is on NHRA.com. If it is, and there it is on NHRA.com, and what I can do for all of you guys is highlight the link and drop it in the chat section so you can all go to NHRA.com and see. That's pretty exciting. Our friends at Caesars have been posting the odds all season long. Everybody knows that sports wagering is the future of everything sports. And so this only makes sense. Very excited. And of course, don't forget to join the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza presented by Peak League for WFO Radio. We'll tweet that out soon. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.